Healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
We're doing it. We're doing
Lady
it.
journey. The plant's
Lady
back
journey.
in.
The plant is here.
We had to take it out for Megan, and then we forgot to put it back in for...
Now all is well. Again, finally.
I know you guys were like, it's just not the same without the plant.
I know. People were probably commenting on the video, like, what happened? Where are you guys going? What is life?
Is this almost over? What's happening? Is this the
Lady
sign?
Journey's falling apart. We're just softly just a soft crumble.
Oh my God. How much is there's a new term instead of quietly quitting. It's called rage hiring.
Ooh.
Meaning like when you
haven't
go
heard
in to
this.
get hired, you're like, I want $1 million a year because you don't give a fuck.
Yes, I have heard there is a new, I've seen like different TikTok advice bits on like when you like asking for the salary and how like overshooting it like $500,000 and they're like well, this is a library. But you're hired.
Yeah.
You're like, I always knew I needed to ask. It's like bogus.
Yeah.
I love it.
But I have heard, because this will go into what we're going to talk about today, but I have
Yes.
heard that like the only way to now get raises is if you jump to another company, because
Interesting.
companies aren't really great about internal raises.
I think you also do basically have to, and this is what I have read in I believe it was like a corporate women's advice book, which I found that it applied to like everything because, you know, we're basically living in a man's world and that's what the premise of the book was. But, you know, if you want a raise, you have to negotiate it. You have to go to them, be like, I want a raise. If I don't get the raise that I want, I'm going to quit. I want a raise, and I'm
Make
also
a big scene.
I will cry in the bathroom for as long as I feel. And then you also have to negotiate in a way that you're going to be like, I will offer this. I will offer this. I can take on this. I can take on that. And a lot of women don't do that, but men do. And so that's one of the reasons that there is a wage gap, is because there's kind of this like unwritten rule that like, you know, women we are like toiling away. Like,
Yeah,
I
if
want
I
to be
just
good enough.
Work hard, they'll like me more. And you're like, that's
If I
not
just
the
get
truth.
abs, then I can get everything will be fine.
Well, this has always been a weird thing in my life, is because I've never cared about any of my day jobs because you're like, I'm gonna be a star, so you never care about your day jobs. But what has inadvertently happened is that I have thrived in the corporate world.
Oh yes, yeah.
I have risen the ranks, and it's like it is like the movie Office Space.
It's probably because you bring, and I think that's important, like you bring a detached like demeanor to the workplace and you don't let things get to you, and they probably see like leadership potential.
Yeah, and
Dissociation.
dissociate as much as possible. The other thing too, I always come in with boundaries because I've had to, where I was like, I have to leave at 5 because I've got shows at night.
Yeah.
I can't, and a lot of times I'm going to need to get off or work from another location because I will be on the road, and they've given it to me.
And then those are the people that they will give the raises to and they will promote, because then they realize that's the only way that person is going to do more work for them.
Yes, it has always benefited me, and I'm like, why can't this go into my comedy world?
Yeah, and that's why like salary, I know, I do find that same thing too. It's like when I have found like I really eschew like anyone's opinion of me, or like I'm in a bad mood and I'm like, you know what, I just do not care anymore, and I kind of am able to externalize that feeling of like, I don't care about you, I don't care about the show. It actually comes off as a certain type of confidence, which it isn't really. It's just kind of like giving up and being and like in anger, but it comes off as like a confidence, which helps people be like, wow. That's why they say like, I always hated that, and it's like a lot of young guys like, that guy just doesn't give a fuck, and like admire it. But it is like that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, where you do just kind of be like, you know what, this could go bad or go good. Part of it's out of my hands, and I actually really couldn't care less, and everyone could go fuck themselves. And people are like, God bless you.
Oh yeah, I think because and then
Tired.
you're never crying because of that.
Never crying because of it, because you're like, you know what, I'm good. It's
Yeah,
another
I don't
day.
need this, and who cares?
I don't need it. And who cares? That's a great mantra.
But it is a great place to live from. But yes, this goes into like we are going into personal finances.
That's our journey today, personal finance. But before we start, I want to say, please subscribe to our YouTube. If you are on YouTube now, thank you. You're home. Make sure you click subscribe so you can always see us.
Great things will happen to you. I'd like if we were like, if you send this to 5 friends, you will have great wealth this year.
If you skip this video right now, you're going to fall. You're going to be in a fall. Don't do it. Don't bring shame upon your family. Subscribe and you will get $1 million tomorrow. That is a fact.
Yeah.
And I also want to say thank you to our Patreon members. I want to say thank you to the awesome people that have joined recently. I decided I wanted to include this instead of a stone because this is a magical element.
Is that a dream catcher?
Isn't this gorgeous?
Yeah.
This is a dream catcher. This is made, this is an authentic dream catcher that was made by Native American people. And I bought this when I went to Palm Springs with my former lover, Ian Finance, who we were just on his podcast. People don't know that we date, and they're like, why? And I'm like, well, you know what? He's a great guy.
Yes, he's very funny and nice.
He was very sweet, and we no longer speak, but we, I've told him to get out of my life, but no,
But I come in his podcast.
I do, just for ours, for ours. But no, I love Ian, and we got a bunch of these, and so I wanted to dedicate this awesome, gorgeous dream catcher. Not a stone, but I hope you will be okay with that because this is still a very precious.
It's a good little. I don't know what you would call.
It's a precious little magical artifact. And and this is for Bridget, okay? This is for Bridget. And we did that dreams episode, which I thought was really cool and fun, and we had a great response to it. So, Bridget, I hope that you have really amazing dreams. I hope you remember your dreams. And I hope that you I hope you're a white woman and you get a dream catcher and you display it in your home, which is one of the things we're famous for.
It's such a lady journey. Ethnic art.
Yeah. Well, I was in the American Southwest, and now it's the theme of my living room. And then the next stone is going out to Amy. So that one's for Bridget. This one's for Amy. So I actually got a really cool gift from my brother on Christmas. He gave me a set of 8 hematite stones, and they are for stone stacking. So
for a sec, I was thinking those look like stones that you would heat up and put on your back.
Oh, they do kind of. And I would like to do that with this too. Give myself a little back massage. But this is a beautiful raw piece of hematite, which you don't often see. It's always like tumbled, but I love the raw hematite. It's so gorgeous and smooth. But this is for Amy. It focuses energy and emotions for balance between the body, mind, and spirit, dissolves negativity. Be gone, spirits, okay? And it prevents you from absorbing the negativity of others. Oh my God, Amy, take it to work, okay? Take this to work, put it on your desk, demand a raise.
Oh my God, I love putting little artifacts on your desk.
Oh my God, I love making my desk into a full cult shrine. Like, I'm just praising Mother Gaia, the Earth Mother. I'm sorry I made people uncomfortable in the office with my animal bones. Woo, we have the 3rd episode wave right now. It's
my favorite wave.
But let's get into personal finance now. I'm watching something right now, which I think is really interesting. It is the Bernie Madoff documentary on Netflix. It's actually a good documentary, and it's not about stabbing people. So it's a win for Netflix as far as I'm concerned.
That's a good one because I love these kind of stories.
Yes.
Because I think we all kind of have it.
Yes. It's like a greed or like it's a get rich quick mindset, which I've been obsessed with lately because I see it on TikTok all the time.
Yes.
It's just rife with these schemes that are like, I work from home and I live in a van and I have $100,000 in my bank account and just follow me and my van and you'll see what I can do.
Yeah. They're like, I only work 4 hours a week and I make $1 million a month. Yeah. And you're like, what? How?
Yes.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Unless you're just selling drugs.
Yeah. You're not making $1 million a month off TikTok, but I do believe you're saying that.
Yeah.
Or it's like, I just bought a laundromat and I made my money back in a day. And I think it's funny too, because it's like, I'm new to all this stuff, but like I was telling my dad that I'm like, Dad, I'm going to buy a laundromat. My dad was like, that was like the classic like joke in the like 80s of like buying a laundromat and like losing money. I think it was like on an episode of Seinfeld or something.
All I need to hear is a dad to be like, that was the joke of the 80s.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, I was just taken in by a repackaged ancient scheme. And that's why like the Bernie Madoff documentary actually goes into a bit of the history of the Ponzi scheme, which is, and it's got like a lot of interesting financial information too, of like the growth of the stock market, the growth and evolution of the stock market with like the development of computers and all of those different, you know, the internet and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I always think people that also live in an extreme amount of debt are also in the same world as the Bernie Madoff, because I actually think a lot of these scams turn out where they do plan to like hope that it will pay itself back fast enough, but then it goes way over their head too much and there's no way out.
Yes, I think that's a lot of what happens. I was watching this film called To Leslie, which is
That's what everybody's been all of a sudden like raving about it.
Oh, it's amazing. Mark Maron is in it, and I think he
With
executive
the southern
produced
accent.
it. He is sexy. Can I just say that? Oh
You
my
can,
God. What?
But I would never date him.
I would
Because I'm married.
date him. I mean,
I'm
well,
loyally married.
I'm also married in spirit. I'm spiritually married. Spiritually married, and but he's so charming and cute in the film, and he does seem like a nightmare, to be in a relationship with, as he has self-admittedly made his girlfriends cry to test if they love him. But I hope he likes Lady Journey, and I hope he has us on our podcast, and I will be emailing
love to
him.
do it, and a big fan of his stand-up.
Big fan. I'll email him this clip.
Yeah.
But anyway, the film is great, and it tackles that urban legend that it's like whatever percentage of people that win the lottery in 7 years, they're totally dead broke. It's
devastating.
And you see why it is too. That's the premise of the show. It's like a woman 7 years later, she has nothing. She's an alcoholic, and you kind of follow her journey, a lady journey, if you will. It's to lady journey. And but you get such a clear picture of why that is, because she's in a poor town in Texas. She has no money. She's a single mom. She gets money, and then you just don't have money management skills. And also on top of that, you're like responding to it in a super emotional way.
You're then probably overcompensating for stuff that you didn't have as a kid that you feel like you should have now, but it's not really important. Because there was an Oprah I saw years ago of the doc on Showtime where they actually found a homeless guy that had, not any homeless guy, he had the ability for cognitive behavior, or like to make good choices.
He was with it.
That's the better way of saying. Thank you. I don't know why I had to go scientific. He was with it.
Yeah, I like that too. I do that sometimes at like a party where sometimes I'm feeling awkward and I just start using vocab.
I'm like cognitive dissociative.
His cognitive function was high functioning, and anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So moving on.
They gave him a good amount of money, like a lottery amount of money. Mm-hmm. And it was just, immediately he bought himself the $60,000 truck.
Wow.
Which is like, cars are always the worst investment. They depreciate value. And then immediately he called a girl that he really liked and had her like come stay at a fancy hotel. So now he's like trying to impress people.
Oh, wow.
And then and then they were like, we set him up for job interviews. He never showed up. So it was just kind of like, it just shows you that a lot of people, it's hard. Like, I think being poor is also a disease. And I remember that in this movie called Hell or High Water, and that was in their dialogue, and I was like, absolutely. It's really hard to get out of a poor mindset.
Yes, because I think it is like a response to trauma in a way, and being poor is traumatic. It is. I like you were like, it is a disease that I have, and I am suffering. Please donate to my GoFundMe because there is no health insurance for this disease.
It's funny to present it that way, but it is in a way,
like a mental illness or like an addiction in a way. I'm reading this book right now, which I'm obsessed with and I love, and I've wanted to read it forever. It's called The Psychology of Money, and it starts out talking about like we all have a different and unique perspective of money, and we make financial decisions based based on that, you know? So it's like, he was saying, like, for example, people's investments, like if you grew up like I did right when I got out of college, it was like literally the financial collapse of 2008. Like,
Yeah.
I've always been really conservative with like investing and stuff because of that, because like that was my formative financial experience. And he said we all have these different perspectives that inform how we spend money, and a lot of spending that we do is totally psychological. It's totally from an emotional perspective. And you know, a lot of times, like when we waste money that we really needed to instead like save, we're wasting it on stuff because we think it's going to make other people think that we're special, and in fact it doesn't even have that. You know, he was like saying cars, for example, like he would work as a valet, and he would see these fancy cars and he would always be blown away by the car, but he would never even notice the driver.
Yeah.
He'd just think like, oh my God, if I had that car, everyone would think I was great, but then he never even noticed the guy who was driving it.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. And then he said too, he like got to know some of the guys, and then some of the guys would just be like working, spending 2/3 of their salary on this $300,000 car. They're spending that on the lease of it, and they're not even doing that good. You know, it's just like money doesn't necessarily reflect how much you spend. Isn't necessarily like a real indication of the wealth that you have.
Yeah, and they've said a lot of times, I've heard, when you meet extremely wealthy people, that you really have no idea that they're extremely wealthy,
Yeah.
because they have a different mindset. They know not to be so ostentatious.
Oh, ostentatious. Oh my God, I love it. Vocab word.
With it.
Yeah. Well, I'm coming off of my no spin January, which was actually really a challenge for me because I kind of panicked.
Oh, it's so difficult with Amazon out there.
I found it pretty challenging. I will say before the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve, I panic bought a sweater skirt, makeup, some shoes, which I have later found out are not in style. And I wish I had not done that, because as I was going through this month, I really have not spent any money on stuff for myself. But I got sick. I had my eye infection. I had like to take a couple of days off of work and stuff. And I was thinking like, wow, I had some unforeseen financial issues come up, and I wish I had not panic bought, because if I had just said like, you know what, I'm just going to do like a no spend January and just went ahead and done it, I would have been like, oh, I probably spent the same amount anyway with these other unforeseen expenses.
Yes. I relate to that so much.
Yeah.
It's like the same way of like, you diet all day, and then at the last minute you're eating fucking cookies.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
you're like, I'm starving.
Yeah.
And I need a treat. Yeah.
And I will say though, one thing it did help me was it helps kind of curb spending anxiety, which I think I have sometimes, because like certainly we all need things, or we have this idea that like I need to update my wardrobe and I want to do it to look good in my business, and I don't want to look like a chuggy. And that's part of the reason that fuels my emotional spending. But because I had decided like I'm not going to spend, it just took that anxiety away from me. So I would like go past a sale and I'm like, oh, I'm not spending. I don't even need to go pop in. I don't need to go through like the ordeal of being like, should I buy these because they're on sale when I don't really like them, or do I need this, whatever. I was just like, oh no, I'm good.
Yes. The feeling, yeah, because it's kind of like drinking, when you're like, as long when you say I can't have anything to drink, then for some reason it makes it feel better rather than to moderate.
Yes.
Yeah.
To continue the like the tug.
Yes.
Like tug and pull of like managing this like uncomfortable feeling that I'm having.
Yeah. And they also say, from what I gather from TikTok, but I've read also in books like the Easy Ways to Quit Smoking, that uncomfortable feeling that you have, it's fine and it's normal.
Sitting with it. Yeah.
Sit with it and it will go away shorter than it will go away within like a minute.
Oh.
Your feelings don't really last that long.
Yeah. And then but you know, if you give into it, you're like, well, I've just bought a towel set. Now I have new towels, I guess. But I'm like really kind of delving into my personal finance. This is one big goal that I have for myself this year, is to actually start bookkeeping, because basically, like, I love these TikTok videos where they're like, how much money do you make on the street? If someone stopped me, I would be like, I have no idea. I
Yes.
actually have no idea how much money I made.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know because I'm afraid. I think I did okay actually, but I have no personal accounting system other than once a year I literally jam my fingers onto the keyboard of the TurboTax.
Yes.
And then I'm like, okay, great. I guess I made 20 grand. Like, let's move on. But I'm just like a monkey just jamming away. And I don't want to do that anymore, because what I want to do is I want to have my small business bookkeeping in order. I want to have my personal bookkeeping in order. And I want to be able to make, and I want to, for this as well, for Lady Journey, I want to be able to make decisions like, oh, say I made $5,000 at the beginning of the month. I have this much money that I can use to live off of, and then I can have this much money to reinvest in my business,
Yes.
which I don't have right now. Right now, everything is just like a big cluster fuck. Excuse my
I don't even want
French.
to address it, because I was telling you I was watching these TikToks about like budget binders, and I'm like, oh, I want those because
Yeah.
I love stationery. But what they're wanting you is like, I'm like, what are these? Who are these people? Strippers or service
Yes.
industry? Because they're dealing with straight cash, and they have little folders or Ziploc bags in their binders that are allotted to finance subjects like car, house, rent, food for the month. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do? Pulse out our money?
Right. It's like, this is for someone who doesn't have a bank account, I guess, and you're just keeping everything under the mattress and hoping that there's no fire.
But also, I'm like, my income lately has been horrific, that
Yeah.
you're like, I would have nothing in my binders.
Yeah. Ooh.
Sarah, what's with your binders?
You're like, I have no car payment. I like the budget binders as well. And but I have to say, like, what attracts me to them is the organization. The organization of it, and the fact that they actually have a budget. I mean, I guess you do have to have money to have a budget, and I'm not huge, but I have no budget. I have nothing like that, and so I want to bring that into my life. But the budget binder, for me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, you're not getting any Amex points. How are you getting miles? You're just getting everything in cash. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you want to that's what I was thinking about with finance and business. Like, I've been trying to do my personal credit card, and then anything that's comedy transaction should be on a separate credit card.
That's what I need to do too. I need to get my small business credit card instead of just putting everything on one, and just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And what I want to do too, what I'm really going to start doing for business and for my personal finance, I have found a template. I found a downloadable Google Sheets template, and you basically it just tells you where to enter everything, and you just enter income, expenses, and you can literally Google like personal finance template, or
there's
like
a lot of
bookkeeping
great
template.
templates.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good way to just be like, once a month, be like, okay, like, let me just go back through my calendar and see what I made. Because also, like, we make a bunch of money in cash. You're making money in cash, you're spending it, and then you're like, well, I don't even know what happened. I just lost $1,000 on a street bet.
Absolutely. Well, there's so many times every year at the end of the year, I have to go through my finances to send to the accountant, and every year I see double charges.
Mm-hmm.
I've been double charged through a festival saying, oh, we've got you on the hotel, but you'll have to put down the credit card for incidental. And then I got charged for the whole hotel.
Yeah.
It's been a year later, and then I feel weird getting that rinky-dink festival that was probably never making money anyway, and be like, you need to reimburse me.
Oh God. Yeah. That's another reason to just keep an eye on your finances, or just do like a monthly tally or something, because I feel like if I had a better handle on my finances, then I would be able to spend money more wisely. Spend money more wisely in terms of like if I have like a big event coming up and I want to buy like a gown or something, like I can be like, this is a business expense.
Yes.
This is not
a write-off.
This doesn't count towards my dry spending January.
As a business, you just find those loopholes.
Find the loophole and then
Find
get
the
the
loophole.
taxes taken care of.
Yes, but yeah, I definitely suggest separate credit cards. I've been actually putting a lot of my medical expenses lately on there because insurance is a racket. I think it's extortion. So now I'm like, anytime that I have to pay for medical, I'm like, at least I'm getting Delta miles out of this.
Yes, that
if
is
I'm
your
going to get
insurance company
financially
now.
raped, I'm getting Delta miles.
Yes. I love that Delta is your insurance.
Yeah.
This is going to be a free flight for my next doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I thought was so interesting that the guy was talking about with the psychology of money was that, you know, we all have these different investing strategies. And this is kind of, I think, gave me some insight into the Bernie Madoff thing as well. It's like people invest from different perspectives as well. And there's a perspective of like greed and thinking that you can get, all I have to do is like X, Y, and Z, and then I'm going to double my money. Or like all I have to do is go with Bernie Madoff because he's making all this money, even though there's some like clear red flags.
Yeah.
But this guy was saying, the Psychology of Money author, I believe his name is Morgan, he was saying that really the best and most sound investment strategy is like literally putting in your monthly investment in your IRA, in your like long-term account, just putting it in there every month for like 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, that's really crazy because you don't need to be super financially literate to do that. It's not, you would think that it's overcomplicated because you see like these finance people and you're like, oh my God, math. And like, that seems like a job I could never do. And it seems so intrinsically complicated.
Yes.
But then you hear this guy who's like a financial advisor be like, literally just put money in your IRA, just put it in your mutual fund. Do not touch it. Do not even look at it. Look at it once a year in case you have to like move some stuff around and balance it. And then what a weight off of your shoulders to just know that like that's literally all you need to do.
Yeah, that you'll be financially stable later, which is always beneficial. It's just I have this problem too. I always feel like feels like it's going to be a lot of work, and then I don't do it. And then when I do it, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe how easy that was. And now I'm super pissed that I left so much money on the table.
Yeah.
It's like Joe's like that with merch. He never really wanted to do it, but now he does it. It takes a little more effort after the show to sell the t-shirts, but like I like to say he makes a good amount of money from it that you're like, when you add that up at the end of the year, you're like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Don't leave money on the table and do those simple things to like increase your revenue if you're a small business. It's like in the Chippendales show. Have you watched that, by the way?
No, but I want to. I can't get into my Hulu.
Oh my God. It's so stressful. I've actually stopped watching it 2 episodes in, but like one of the key scenes, this isn't a spoiler, but he meets a woman and she goes, oh, you know, you're only filling the ice glasses 2/3 of the way, and that's gonna cost this business like, you know, $600 a night in the long
with the
run.
liquor.
Yeah
Or the filler that they use.
Yeah. Now I have definitely made some bad investments in my time. Like I have like regrets that I have looked back upon and really felt stupid about it. Like I had about $10,000 when I was 28 or 29. I had about $10,000 saved. And instead of paying off my student loans, which I really wish I had done, I instead decided to use it for art projects. And I made this women's calendar. It was a pinup. Yeah, it was kind of like, I thought it was like really clever of me. And I just don't think it was a terrible idea, but I wanted to like turn pinup girls, like turn it on its ear and make it, you know, be like a conversation about the male gaze. And it's like people dress as pinup, but there's like a little fuck you where it's like a little different and a little nuanced. And you know, I guess I just had to pay that money to realize that like a calendar is a really poor investment because it is very timely. And it was like, then it was like March 2016 and I was like sitting there with 1,000 calendars that I had paid $1,000 to have the calendars printed, and I didn't sell all of them. And I felt like so upset and sad about that because I don't know what I was thinking about it because I didn't really have a business plan in place. I just thought like I'm going to do this, and then there was nothing else.
Yes.
So that was probably one of the worst financial investments that I have made, and I wish I had just paid my student loans with that money. Like it would have saved me so much in the long term. But I guess
sometimes you hope that like that would have huge returns that you could just pay off, that you have that then it makes money, and then you can pay off your
Yes.
student loans in a one swoop.
I think, we always have this delusion that it's like, it will get picked up by Penguin House.
Yeah.
They'll want to sell it as a coffee table book. But I just had like 4 open micers like buy it via mail. And then I just mailed them basically nude pictures of me and my friends. It was called Pin Up Yours. And but you know what? Sometimes I guess when you do a bad investment, it's like, was $1,000 really? That was the most I had to lose to learn that was a dumbass idea.
It's not bad. And I don't think those are like super bad investments because they're learning.
Yes.
Yes, because I've had bad investments, but they're like, because I helped my boyfriend out at the time who has a drinking problem.
Yeah.
I bought him a motorcycle. You're like, don't help people.
Don't ever help anyone. That is the moral.
Yes. But that, to me, like, at least you had an idea and you put money into it and it didn't work out, and it wasn't a huge amount of money.
It wasn't a huge amount of money, and I wish I had just started my IRA earlier. That's the only thing. I did start my IRA when I was like 33, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like a little late, but you know what? At least I have it now, and I'm gonna keep putting money and investing in it. And I hope that when I do my personal again, I'm just going to be using this Google Sheets for my personal budget template, but I hope I can see how much money I'm bringing in as a comedian, reinvest it, and then hopefully I can make more money, come up with a concrete plan to make more money.
Yes.
And then follow it and then get it.
Well, whenever I do my personal finances for comedy, I'm always like, why hasn't the government intervened and been like, we need to shut this down immediately? Like, there's no money.
I know. I've had a couple of years where I was making like $5,000. I'm like, hallelujah.
So it's when you deal with personal finances and go through it, it's hard. I think it's one of the hardest things you have to do in order to get your life on track.
And you do have to kind of confront, it's like what you were saying earlier, like you have to confront the emotional demons that you are face to face with now when you're looking at your spending. It's like, I spent $1,000 thinking that I was going to be a model. What was that? What was it? And I spent more than that, by the way, because I also paid for like the shoot and like all the props and everything else. So.
Yes. Well, I had that. I remember like at UCB, we had to pay for, when we did sketch, we had to pay for props. And I remember I had a 30-second sketch on stage and I spent a few $100s on costumes. And I remember being like that was absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Nobody was discovering me at that theater. Mm-hmm. It was a bad investment.
No one was like, look at those costumes.
I know.
Yeah.
The joke was not that great that you're just like, those are the things that I can get mad about when you're spending a few $100s. I get annoyed with Joe because he's a big Grubhub abuser.
Okay. Yeah.
Guys, you are throwing money away if that's your one way of getting meals.
Yeah.
Fucking go out the door and pick it up.
Yeah. I don't do it just because I feel awkward. That's lucky for me, I guess. I just feel awkward about being like, hi, my food. Thank you for bringing it.
It's just like one sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll do it occasionally, but even then I look at it and I'm like, this is insane how much money they're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing a big purchase this year because I am going to a friend's destination wedding. And I don't know what I was thinking. I actually encouraged her to have it there. I was like, it would be fun, a group trip. And then I don't know. I thought it was going to be like, I don't know, $800. Why did I think that? It's like $2,500. And I offered to pay for Mike, my boyfriend, because I feel like he's coming as my guest. And I just feel like that's the right thing to do when you're bringing somebody to a wedding, to be like, listen, I will take this one. But I'm like, wow, this is probably going to be the biggest purchase that I have ever made in my life, in like one chunk.
And it's not on you.
And it's not on me. It's not on me.
That's hard.
Yeah.
You're like, if I that would not be an issue to me if I was making tons of money. But when you're living paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah.
that's one of those things where I'm like, I can't go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going. I don't
want to out-talk you.
No.
you
I'm
out
like,
of it.
hi, I can't make it. No, this is my best friend. I'm definitely going, and I do feel like financially stable enough to spend this money, and that's good. Like, I'm in a good place. But I also am like, wow, this is a big adjustment. Like just putting aside the money for this, like this is an adjustment of like, I'm like, oh, I need to save like a couple $100 every month leading up to this.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting like hit with like, oh, I have no money for the entire season now. I have no money for anything. And, but you know, I feel adult about it. I feel like I want to be able to pay this.
It's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to do.
It's a nice thing to do. And I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be worth it. But at the same time, it is a big amount of money, and I want to be responsible about it so I don't feel like, oh my God, I threw that away and then I'm 89, like living in a hovel. Like, I guess I shouldn't have gone to Costa Rica.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, just put it on your credit card. But I've done that in the past where I've just put like an amount like $2,500 on a credit card, and it was alarming to me how long it took me to pay that off.
Yeah.
In my mind, I think I'm just going to get like a Hollywood check that will clear it in the next 2 months. And I'm like, oh, actually, it's taking me like a year to pay this off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, do you budget? Do you budget like in your day-to-day life? Because I feel like if $2,000 is like, yes, it's a lot, $2,500, whatever. But if you do budget properly, then over a period of time, you're like, okay, I'm good.
Yes.
You know?
Well, so this month, I try to budget, but mainly I do it loosely. Meaning like, I'm not going out to eat this month, so I've been cooking at home. All of a sudden, I have a large amount of flour. So I'm like making as much as I can with this flour, which is so cheap.
I love it. Biscuit it up.
Biscuit it up. I was thinking also of, so I haven't spent any money on clothes, but I have got Amazon purchases, but I consider those business purchases this month.
Even when I was doing my no spend January, I would still buy any toiletries.
Yes.
Which I was like, wow, it's easy to get out of control with that too. I'm like, I think Epsom salts count as something that I can have. All of a sudden I'm like, I need foot cream. Just goes to show you, like, it is like addictive. Like spending money is kind of addictive in a way.
Do you ever do this when you go to the store? Like, say if I go to like Old Navy or just like Bed Bath and Beyond, and I'm like, well, I can't just get one thing here. I actually drove 15 minutes here.
Yeah.
So I should pick up another thing while
yeah.
I'm here. And then you're like, that's how I double
Yeah.
my expenses so fast, is just being like, well, I'll just pick up this little, I do need scrunchies.
Yes, I know.
And you're like, you don't need scrunchies.
You always need scrunchies.
Yeah, and this is a thing that I've also found since I've been organizing like my cupboard. I buy the same spice over and over again because I don't realize that I have it.
Yes.
That's what I've noticed too. I've have several purchases in my cupboard because I don't realize that I already had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just doing
Organize.
little inventory stuff and organizing. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good just in terms of like the overall like resetting, creating a budget, sticking to it, like organizing your life in a way that you're not just chaotically, you're just like careening through life, which is what I'm doing. I'm just financially careening. Like, I'm not spending money. Okay, I'm spending it. I don't know where this is going. I just bought a flight that's $700, but that's what it costs. And I can only fly Delta because Spirit, I feel like the plane is going to crash.
Absolutely. I also have those days where you're like, wow, I didn't really spend any money today. And then you're like, no, you did. It was online.
Yeah, I spent $45 at CVS.
You're like,
when
I bought a plane ticket for
Yeah.
$700.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I know it just gets out of hand so quickly. But you were telling me you were thinking about you were thinking of getting subscription boxes. So go off, Queen.
So this is what I'm thinking. And if you guys have done this, let me know, because I am seriously thinking about doing this. So I've had a targeted ad to me called Nuuly, Nuuly, and they have clothes that I thought were really cute. But so it's a subscription clothing service, and you get like 8 items every month, and then you return them after the month, and then you get 8 new ones, and it's $88 a month. And I was like, usually that's pretty much around the amount of money that I spend on clothes a month.
Totally.
That I was like, that's not a bad idea. And I'm seriously thinking about doing this just to try out clothing wise, because I do feel like a lot of the reason why I'm buying clothes is I just get tired of it. So if I switch it out,
Yeah.
that it might be more fun for me to have these like fun pieces in my wardrobe. And then, a month goes by and then I get it. And if I really, really want it, you can buy it from them.
And what an eco-friendly thing to do, like an eco-friendly way to do budgeting as well.
Yeah.
To actually sign up for that and be like, my budget for the year for clothes is literally $1,000 or I don't know, whatever, 89 times 12, whatever mathletes, you can figure it out. But
Yeah.
like I easily would spend more than $1,000 in a year just on like updating the wardrobe.
Yeah.
You know?
All the time that I feel like maybe this might be a thing, but I am so wary about it that I want to find out if anybody has. I have had friends that do Stitch Fix, but that's usually like a stylist, and I don't like the clothes that come with it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit more of like a yuppie style.
Yeah.
The Stitch Fix is like office looks, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, I don't work in an office. I stay at home and I
Yeah.
go out at night.
I just want like a few cute tops every now and then, and that's it. And I don't need it like a stylist. I just want to try some fun things out, maybe things beyond maybe my style,
yeah.
and see if I like it. So I'm intrigued. So if anybody's done a subscription clothing service,
Ooh, let us know.
please let me know, because I will. And if I haven't heard, if you guys don't give me any feedback on it, I will try it for 1 month. I think you can go by
then
one
let
month
us
to month,
know.
and I will let you guys know.
Well, now, are you responsible for cleaning the clothes before you return?
That's the thing I don't know. I looked at the video over and over again, and I don't.
Because if you don't
I-
have to clean it, then it's like that cuts down on your laundry budget huge. I mean, I spend probably about $20 every other week to get
I
our
do
laundry
a lot,
done.
Yeah. Do you do your own, or do you let someone else do it?
We have a person who is downstairs. They have a little storefront in our building, and
Oh,
they
that's
do
nice.
it. So I'd actually prefer to do my own laundry, but the machines are so expensive. It actually doesn't make sense because it's literally $5 more, and I'm like, I'm gonna pay
more
myself
time.
$2 an hour to do my own laundry when it's just so it's not cost effective.
Yeah.
But I will say, dropping it off, you have to get more stuff dry cleaned.
Yes.
Because you have to be careful about like delicates and stuff. You can never really drop those off because it's anybody's game. You're like, this was bigger. Picking something up, it was like tiny.
Yeah, that's why I kind of stopped doing like a lot of H&M clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Even
weird how
though
like cheap clothes need
them.
to be dry cleaned.
I know. It's a polyester. It's all polyester. The cheapest and then also the most expensive. It's all polyester.
Yeah.
But I would say like if you are not responsible for cleaning them, which it seems like you wouldn't because they probably would have like higher cleaning standards. Otherwise, what's the wear and tear on those?
Absolutely. And also, do you trust the general public to clean how you like to be
Right.
clean? Like
You're getting
I've
it
seen
like,
other people clean, and
This
it's not
has
great.
BO.
Yeah.
you know? That would be mine.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, I love that. I love like creative budget hacks where that's the type of thing that you're like, oh, I literally just saved myself probably a grand
Yeah.
on clothes. Because I do the same thing too. And I don't have a clothing budget I have no budget as everyone. I'm acting like, oh, I've never just said that I have no budget.
Yeah.
Who, me? Clothing budget? Well, I used to have one, but I don't have a clothing budget. But instead, like what I will do is I'll just go through a period of like, I'm updating my wardrobe and I just buy stuff that looks reasonable when I see it. And it's
Yeah.
like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And if you were just like, okay, I'm going to spend $1,000 on clothes a year. That's all I need to do. That's what I'm going to spend and I'm good.
And no more after that.
Cut it out. And then
Yeah.
you're good.
It frees up that mental real estate about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I want to move towards as I am organizing my personal finance, to just get it off my plate and not just have this like monkey on my back of like, I have no idea what's going on back there. That monkey is hanging out and
having a good old time.
he is attacking me and others. Oh my God.
Oh, that's a lady journey.
That is a lady journey. Well, folks, let us know your budgeting tips. Let us know your budget. We'd love to hear it. Comment below. And please, again, like and subscribe. Please do it. You know you want to. And we will be there for you. Lady Journey.
Lady journey.